And welcome to the latest episode of Greifenhorst, which is my medieval fantasy let's play in beautiful and complex modded Minecraft. So in the last episode, we went ahead and set up the Ars Nouveau side of our integrated storage system, which is to say we created some space, and then we created all the bits necessary to create the storage lectern and the bookworm, as seen here. Now, we are going to dig out some space because we're going to start on the storage drawers side. And a quick review, storage drawers is essentially going to give us a system that we can treat as one big chest, logically. And then Ars Nouveau will connect to that chest so that we can access everything in the system as if it really was part of one chest. And that's why we're going to all this trouble, because that's pretty cool, pretty useful too. So in this episode, we are gonna be doing some digging. Now, we are in the deep slate layer, and deep slate usually takes a while to dig, but again, Ars Nouveau to the rescue, because we have the break spell. I call it Big B's Paxel. It's If you haven't been watching the series, Big B was one of the archmages in the original Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, and Paxel is pretty common in many mods across the modded Minecraft's community, and it's basically a combination tool where it's a pickaxe, a shovel, an axe, toothpick, bottle washer, and calculator all rolled into one. And so Big Beast Paxel is what I named it, because it is a magic spell that will essentially do whatever I need it to do as far as harvesting blocks. So it goes really, really fast. But one of the things that I've done is I've been clearing out these levels is I remembered that I need to grab a bunch of cobblestone and start smelting it, because as you may have just seen, if you were looking where I was digging, I like to use the infrastructure of my builds out of stone bricks, and that means I gotta have the stone bricks. And so I'm going to come up here and get a bunch of cobblestone and throw it into, we're going to bring it with us, and then we'll cook it down below. But I want to make sure that I take enough charcoal and coal down there with me so that we can keep things cooking while we're working. And I got some, which will get us going, but I don't want to use all that up and then have nothing ready. So let's go get some of that started. I've got some logs on me, so that will help get things started. Plus it's night, we should probably sleep. Yep, okay. So there you go. Let's see, we got trying to see if I have any other coal or charcoal squirreled away. So I got one thing of coal, 14, and then 2 of charcoal, which are mostly full. And I got a bunch of logs too, so we can get all this stuff going. So that'll give me a full stack of charcoal. And in this case, go ahead and grab the oak. At the moment, I don't really have much specific use for oak. Make it divisible by 8 so we don't waste any fuel. And that should give us a bunch of Now we can go back to our regularly scheduled program. Yeah, just make sure that there's a mage light in the water to keep it liquid, because that side of my fields is in the taiga biome, and with serene seasons this time of year, it snows over there and water freezes. But if you put a mage light in there, mage lights have a tendency to melt snow, and they'll keep that water block a water block and not an ice block. Let's get this going. Okay, and since we're down here with the enchantment infuser, that's not what it is. It's the infusing apparatus. We can go ahead and make source gems while we're working. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 light. Okay, that should be one corner. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the other corner. Now, if I did this right, I should be able to dig straight back and be facing one of the pillars that's holding up our vaulted roof. There we go. So now I know what I have to clear away, so we'll just clear it away. Now, as you know, I mean, obviously I play Minecraft and the other games for which I have a series, so obviously I play those. Every once in a while I will take some time to play something that I'm not making a video series on. And there's 2 games that I've been trying lately. One is Cubic Odyssey. I've talked a little bit about Cubic Odyssey in the past, and if you see me opening up my inventory at random times, like when trying to open a door or something, that's muscle memory from playing Cubic Odyssey, because you use the E key to do everything, including bringing up your your inventory. But if you've got something to activate, like a door, does that too. So it's a little overloaded, and as a result, I run around pressing E all the time now. But that is it. Oh boy, I just broke into the open. I don't want anything bad to come tumbling in on my head. So we got to plug the hole. And what we'll do is put down some scaffolding to reach the hole. And then we can plug it. There we go. Can I get more around the corner? No. So the Quark mod, or is it the Supplementaries mod, gives me the ability to place blocks where I don't have, oh boy, the access to a surface to put the block on directly. That, when you see a little star target, that's what that is. And that's how I do that. And that should keep everything that should keep everything out except for, spiders and baby zombies. Though, what baby zombies would be doing around here without adult supervision. Oh, I know what he's doing. He's causing me grief. Well, not the moment, but in the future tense, of course. Oh boy. Yeah. That is the exact opposite of what I wanted to do. Oh boy. That didn't work either. Uh-oh. Something with a backpack and a musical, the jukebox hat on is in the neighborhood. He's got his slinky jazz encounter music going. So it's going to be like a beatnik creeper. Yeah, not a moment too soon. If you remember last episode when we were digging out space, we heard some, a creature with a sophisticated backpack and the jukebox upgrade. Then too, because of the way monster spawning works and stuff, I doubt it's the same one. But it does seem highly coincidental that 2 episodes in a row, virtually, in in-game minutes apart, I would run into another jukebox wearing mob. Very interesting. The other game that I've been playing lately is Enshrouded. Now, I really dragged my feet on that for a long time because as a part of this channel, I'm always on the lookout for builder games, right? I love the building. And I really kind of gotten out of the whole RPG thing. I mean, I used to be really hot and heavy into that. And now it's all about the building. But like when I would do a search for like the best building games or the best base building games, at least half the time Enshrouded would come up on the list. And I found this baffling because it's like, well, is it a builder game or is it a role-playing game? And it is a role-playing game first and foremost, but it is a role-playing game with a heavy dose of base building, and in some ways, some of the most sophisticated and satisfying base building tools out there. But to be fair, there are some of the most annoying base building aspects to it as well. But either way, I got the game, and I've been playing it, and I'm having a lot of fun. A lot of fun. It really is good. From a builder's point of view, the real aggravation is that when you start the game, you're going to have access to the only the most rudimentary materials. Oh gosh, another hole for him to pop into. Okay, now he's shut out. So it's not heavy role playing, right? I mean, it's role playing at its most basic as far as a computer game goes. It's more of a, well, I would say it's somewhat of a cross between Diablo and Valheim, right? So You take kind of the Valheim mode of you got skills, you have a world, you can build whatever you want in it with whatever materials you find. That's the Valheim side of it. And then the Diablo side of it is there are quests that send you from point A to point B, sometimes to bring back something. But all along the way, you find places to stop and explore. And except for very, very rare circumstances, you pretty much lay waste to everything in your path, right? Sucking up all the resources and treasure. And well, that's pretty much Diablo in a nutshell, and that's what we have here. So the other side of it too is that you can play it single player and you can play it co-op. There's no PvP option, and to be clear, the developer said there never will be. So as long as they hold to that's it. But that's cool. I'm not really into PvP anymore either. Those days are long gone. But you can play it with up to 16 people on the same world, and also in a nod to both Valheim and Terraria, the way the system works is you can have multiple characters, and you can move them in and out of worlds, and they maintain whatever stuff they have with them. So you could go into one world with like nothing, and it's a world where maybe your friends, you share it with your friends, and they've got a whole bunch of high-end stuff. You could load up on the high-end stuff, then go back to your brand new world where like nothing exists, and you've got a bunch of high-end stuff already. So if you like those types of worlds, there you go. That's what it is. No, I've actually this is blowing holes in my walls here. I've been playing with the base building element, and one of the things that surprised me is that there's two related things actually. One, it's voxel based. I didn't realize it was voxel based until I started blowing away chunks of the landscape, and then I said, "Oh, it's voxel based." But yes, and in fact, you can dig quite deep. Well, let me say quite deep, like 1 or 2 stories down, which is pretty impressive for games like this. And then the other side of it is that as you go through and you basically loot and pillage everything you get your hands on, it'll restore itself. So basically, the way it works is the game world is the game world, and the places where you build your bases are basically determined by an altar that you set up and then a given radius around that altar. And you have a limited number of these. Initially, you start with 4, or you can have up to 4. And then by the end of the game, you can have up to 10. So, but outside of those bases, every 30 minutes, well, after half an hour, stuff resets. So, like, if you know a place where either it's a different guy or the same guy just changed his tune, I appreciate that. Anyway, so what happens is, like, there could be a resource there, a natural resource. Like in this case, I'm farming a lot of flint. Well, they call it flintstone, but if I say that, immediately I start thinking of, Fred and Barney. But if you let's say there is like a flint deposit, and you go in and you gut that puppy, it's gone. It's history, and it's not within the radius of one of your altars where you can build a base. Go make yourself a sandwich. Come back, and half an hour it would have reset, and you can go get that flint all over again. Now, when you talk about things like game balance and all this type of stuff, you're like, well, you don't want that, because people can just get the same resources over and over and over again. But then there's the other side of my brain that says, this is awesome. Now I can go get the same resources over and over again. It really kind of matters or depends on where you are in all this, right? I mean, I would say there was a time 10 or 15 years ago I would have been all bent out of shape over this, because it's like, well, it's a game. You can't throw the game out of balance, and you know, blah, 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 blah. And I know lots of people like that right now, but I'm not like that anymore. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, you know, to each his own, and I'm perfectly cool with it. Now, there is, there actually, I didn't look at them in depth, but apparently there's some pretty nuanced and, what's the word I'm looking for? Granulated, difficulty settings, right? You can really kind of go to town and tweak and tweak and adjust to your heart's content to get the specific mix of settings that you want. Now, I don't know what those settings are. I set up my world that I play in. I just grabbed default initially because I just want to see. I want the full experience, right? The full vanilla experience. But you know, you can go to town and really alter stuff, and that kind of goes back to one of the conversations, oh boy, I had here with you guys and some other episode, where first of all, we are kind of shifting away from calling or treating games like games anymore. They're really more like toys, and in the end, when it comes right down to it, the right way to play it is in the eye of the beholder. I mean, if you have a tournament or something, if we're gonna, you know, give prizes or boasting rights or whatever, sure, let's define a very specific set of rules and hold people's feet to the fire if they break them. But if you're talking about something, I can't reach it because I'm in a hole already. If we're talking about I'm gonna have to. Oh, it worked. If we're going to hold people's feet to the fire, in those cases, that's perfectly fine. But if somebody is going to spend their money to play this thing their way in their free time to achieve whatever purpose they're looking for, well, okay, then let them have it. Give them the option to do whatever they want to do, because that's what this is all about. So... and I think it's Keen Games that makes that, so kudos to them for doing that. My guess is they actually have some game players on their dev team, so that's cool. I mean, I used to assume that every game development team was staffed with a bunch of gamers. And to be fair, I would say that's probably true for the vast majority of devs in the gaming industry. But there are definitely signs in some games or some game companies where the devs aren't game players, and or the PMs behind the devs aren't game players either. Sometimes I wonder if they've ever played a game. But, you know. Anyway, so it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying that one. And it's $30 without a sale. And it's in early access. Though they say it might be coming out of early access this year. I didn't see an actual date, but on the roadmap it said 2025. So maybe. Now, you know, I've talked about building games in my video series, this one and the others, lots of times. And if you're watching the channel, if you're listening to this, if you can hear my voice, then Clearly you have more than a passing interest in building games. And if that's the case, by all means, share some of that passion in the comment. Let us know. Let us know whatever, right? I mean, if you like building games, let us know which building games do it for you. If you think that there's a quote-unquote builder game that's not up to snuff, by all means, let us know. If there are specific aspects of builders games that you like or dislike, let us know. What are some of your favorites? What are some of your old favorites, right? They used to be your favorites, but then, new favorites came along. And, for that matter, if you're into builders, tell me what it is you do with them, right? Do you like survival builders? Do you like building in creative? Do you just do you use it like a sandbox, or are you trying to tell a story, even if you're not making a video series or something? If you're just, hold it, this is lopsided. How is this? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's got to be an odd number. It's an even number. So I see. Okay. So the column to my right, it needs to be expanded one layer. See? It's right there. I just need more stone brick. And I don't have it. Let me see what else. Let us know what works for you, what doesn't work for you. An interesting thing about builders is everybody likes them for different reasons or different purposes. So let us know what you do with the builders, right? I mean, me. I mean, I'm here and I say that I like building living, breathing worlds, right? I like to build worlds that function for their inhabitants. So, there you go. I used to be a big fan of the Anno series, right? I mean, I played the first one. What was it? It was like 1603 or 1504. I don't know. It was one of those two, 1600s or 1500s. That was when it came out. I was hooked. But you see, the gameplay is very formulaic. I mean, in recent releases, they first of all, they give you sumptuous graphics and a more engaging background story type mode, but in the end the core gameplay is still the same, exactly the same. You have your roads, you have your houses that house your workers. Workers have certain needs before you can upgrade them to the next level of worker, but certain workers are only workable in certain industries, so you can't make everybody advanced. Meanwhile, buildings have fixed radius that are applicable, and limits too. So in those types of situations, right, if you have a lot of open space, there are even published templates out there where you can grab that, set up your template, and then in the later versions of the series, you can literally copy and paste your template across the land. Now, they know this. They know this, which is why in the islands you can build on, there may be lots of open space, but it's often broken by various features or whatever. So the cookie cutter method doesn't quite work as well as it used to, because there's going to be, I guess, one way to look at it, stuff in the cookie batter that kind of prevents it from working the way it should. So I used to love those series. I mean, atmospherically and for relaxing gameplay, I think I still would enjoy it, but it doesn't have that nitty-gritty depth that's missing. Now, in if you ever played Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 or 2, and to a certain extent 3, you kind of understand, like, there's a builder where you can build your rides and stuff, but the authors gave you a lot of granulated detail. Like in the case of Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, you can even dictate the level of condiments to put on hot dogs and stuff, the price, the whole shebang. Now that type of stuff I love, right? The cookie cutter model is right out the window, and I think the guys who did a fantastic job with this. I mean, Coaster Planet is real cool, especially because it's all first person if you want. But the one that I actually enjoy the most is Parkitect. It's kind of like a modern take on Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 and 2. An isometric view. And I really enjoyed that. I mean, that's my go-to. And I'd say May or June, I get this overwhelming desire to play it all over again. I mean, not the entire campaign, though. The last time I went through this, I did clear away the campaign and start from scratch, and I got further than I ever did before. But I love those types of games. Again, living, breathing world. So I'm not building something for the sake of building something. In that case, I'm building something to keep my business from going under, right? And of course, it's not just building something and they'll come. You got to build it and make sure they like it, right? Because that's classic. If you built an amusement park and it was just like, ooh, it's a room full of books. That's a library. That's not an amusement park, right? So you gotta meet the needs of amusement park goers, and they're expecting rides of all sorts of levels and flavors, and classic theme park snacks, and just basically a chance to escape reality for a while and have a blast doing it. Yeah, I had an interesting conversation this morning with one of my friends, one of my game playing friends. What I didn't realize is that, right now, if you were to ask me to describe him, I would tell you he's one of the most hardcore devoted game players I know. I just thought he was always that way, but I only met him a couple years ago, and we've only become friends in the past 6 months. But it blew me away to find out that he almost never played games before the pandemic, right? It was a pandemic. What is this? This is that spider corn stuff from Abyssal Decor. But I thought he was just a hardcore game player, but he is a hardcore game player, but he hadn't always been. So that was an interesting discovery for me. I find it particularly fascinating that somebody in their mid-40s can discover gaming, right? So, if you're an older person that's somehow watching this but not particularly interested in gaming, I don't know how you wound up here, but or why you've gotten this far in this video. But if you're an older person that isn't really into gaming, I got to tell you, this is. Obviously, I got into gaming back when, they released Pong. So, I was, not even old enough to be in their fit demographic yet. So, for me, it's always been a part of my life. But when it comes to gaming, I think there's a lot of things going for it that would appeal to older folks. For one, it is a chance to completely disengage with the outside world, right? I don't want to generalize too much, but I can tell you that a lot of older folks are wrapped up on the news and freaking out about current events, and for those who say, well, I just don't watch the news, I don't care what's going on. Well, I think you're doing you and everyone else a disservice by being that checked out. But for everybody who's watching the news 24/7, okay, all you're doing now is killing yourself through stress. You got to find a happy medium. And if you need a good distraction, well, games will do it for you every time. More to the point, one of the things I like to point out to my girls, right, is like, consider this. I paid $60 for Minecraft, and it's not that it's $60. It's just that it was $30. But then when they did the switch between the Mojang and the Microsoft accounts, I did try to convert it, but they somehow screwed it up. So the only way I could get playing again was just bite the bullet and buy my Minecraft over. So I paid twice to get around whatever weirdness was going on their end. And yet, even at that higher rate, and I got Bedrock Edition for free way back in the day, because originally it was free on the PC. It was called Windows 10 version. But so there you go, right? I had $60 invested in Minecraft, and I don't know what the last time I looked, it was well into the 5,000s of hours, right? So take $60 and divide by 5,000, and that's the cost per hour I've gotten out of Minecraft alone as far as entertainment value. Now you tell me, except for like just going outside and looking at stuff, what else can give you that type of entertainment value, right? Well, pretty much zero. Even the movies, right? They can only keep you entertained for a couple hours, and at $20 or even $10 a movie, $10 a movie, that's $5 an hour. That's pretty good compared to like the batting cages or a nightclub or something, but that's still nothing compared to what I've spent on video games and the value I've gotten from it. And that's saying a lot, because I have bought a mess of games over the years, and but I've played the living dog snot out of them, so always got my money's worth. So if you're looking for distraction, games are a great choice. If you're looking for something cheap, games are a great choice. If you're looking to have fun, games are a great choice. If you're looking for something to do by yourself, games are a great choice. If you're looking for something to do with a bunch of people, games are a great choice. You see where this is headed? You see what's going on? Now, I suspect that the people watching this or listening to it are pretty much going to agree with me, because most of you are here because you already have that mindset. But if you have older folks that you're trying to convince games are cool, you send them my way. You send them to my channel. Have them drop a comment. And I'll figure out a way to give them. Well, actually, you can contact me through my email address on the channel info. Send them that and say, go talk to this guy. And there you go. I really do think that, because now we're at a point where a lot of old people like myself are old, yeah, but we grew up with games, right? And that's important, because when I was a kid, when I was a real kid, old people were not game players. They might play canasta or pinochle or bridge or something, but those are card games, right? They didn't play video games. Hell, when I was a little kid, video games hadn't been invented yet. So, old people back then are a very different breed than old people today. I certainly like to think so. And some of those old people today that are my age, they didn't play games because that's what nerds and geeks do. Well, that was true back in the day. Nerds and geeks were just smarter than everyone else, knew it had something special going on. But nowadays, pretty much there's a game for every human being on the planet, right? Whether it's a puzzle game, word games, card games, even just like on phones and stuff, there are so many games that have hooked so many people who swore at me, but who swore that they are not gamers. Even my mom. My mom used to give me so much grief for spending time on the computer and for playing games. And actually, my mom's an old convert, because back in the 90s, her and my stepdad started playing Myst, right? The old adventure game, MYST. That had him hooked. And after that, she never gave me guff about playing games. So, I guess that was her turn to the dark side moment, or turn to the light side. I'm not sure. I'll say turn to the light side, but yep. She came around. And I mean, what's not to like? I already explained all the great things about games. Though, let's face it, not all games are created equal. And that's always been true. But I would say up until maybe 10 or 15 years ago, maybe a little longer, maybe till like 20 years ago, game companies really did sincerely try to make great stuff to keep players happy, right? Because that's, the classic business model is you have a service or product you give your customers. If they're satisfied and happy with it, they come back for more. You get richer. And gaming was an interesting industry because in the old days you could have an individual, not you could have, you did have, this is how it worked. An individual, maybe 2 or 3 work together, would come up with a game. They'd code it, they do the music, they do the documentation, the whole shebang. They have a publisher. In those early days, Electronic Arts was actually a collection of artists. They were like artists who got together to self-publish, and then they'd publish other guys' stuff. It was very artist-friendly or developer-friendly. Very, very different world than today. But and that was it. That's who made a game. I mean, when the credits rolled up, it would all fit in one screen, and there was plenty of space for decoration. Then, over the years, computer and video games became an industry, and not just an industry. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but video games bring in more money than movies and music combined. At least in the United States, that's true. And that's big money. Well, when you have that type of money involved, then you start bringing in all sorts of generic business talent, right? These are guys who went to Harvard Business School and stuff like that. And then they start running the game company like a business. Now, if you're a shareholder or an investor, running a game company like a business is great news, because that means your money is probably fairly safe, and or it's going to get you a return on your investment. Yay! But for the game playing public, people who pay to play, it might not necessarily be that great of news, because the artists, the people who are coming up with cool new games, the innovation, the people who just understood and tried to recreate the fun factor, are no longer in decisions of power. They're not calling the shots. And I think you can see that, especially when the pandemic struck, everybody was stuck at home, and suddenly games went through the roof. And of course games went through the roof. Everybody was stuck at home. But they needed something to entertain themselves. And at this point, games had become big enough that there was, people playing games on their phone, casual gamers. Boom. The games market went crazy. And at that point, all you had to do was say you were thinking about starting a game company, and there were companies lining up to give you money to do that, right? Well, it's 2025 now, and those days are gone. And I think what we're seeing is a contraction of that. What's more, I think, and I hope that what we're seeing is reactions from the game playing and game paying, I guess, public, that there's a limit, right? You can, at some point, we really start demanding value for our buck. And I think it really came to a head where, oops, I got these set up wrong. There we go. it really came to a head recently. Like, Super Mario, not Super Mario World. Mario Kart World. It's basically the Switch 2 version of Mario Kart is a big open world game, and I mean it is massive. But basically, they're charging $80 for it now. I think maybe in this case, that it's Nintendo, and with the level of quality and the level of content involved, I think they could charge that and get away with it with certainly some grumbling. But I mean, in the end, they kind of deliver on the value proposition. But now that they've kind of broke the seal, there are going to be plenty of game companies charging $80, and there are plenty of game companies that will charge $80, and we're not going to get $80 worth of game. I guarantee that. So that's bad. What I'm doing here is I want to start growing giant spruces because I'm going to need a lot of wood to make storage drawers. Pure and simple. It's time to go crazy on the wood production. But I think the problem with game companies, and I made a snide comment about the difference in electronic arts then and now. Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about, right? These guys who basically look at customers like oranges, not even the golden goose or a cow, right? Where you milk them and keep milking them. No, they look at us like an orange, right? Where they just want to squeeze all the juice out until there's nothing left, and then they'll go on and appeal to somebody else. They don't care what happens to the orange. I don't know how I got on this diatribe against the game companies, but I am pro-game, and the game companies are going through some painful times right now. I do feel bad for developers and teams that have been laid off. I especially feel bad for them because I'm living that nightmare myself right now. But at the same token too, they were on a gravy train that was working great for everyone except the people actually paying for the gravy train. Okay, let's see. Make a bunch of planks. And make sure I don't have any chests. Also, where is my quartz? Quartz. I am missing my quartz. I have been to the Nether, yeah? So, okay, table that for a minute. Okay, we gotta make the storage drawers. Which I've been doing a lot lately in New Londinium. And then, let's see, what else do we need? We need the comparators, right? I need redstone torches, and I need the quartz. So, there's the redstone. Easy peasy. I don't see the quartz anywhere. I mean, I know how could I have possibly gone into the Nether and mined a bunch of stuff and come out with no extra quartz? That's not even in my personality. I mean, by default, I would get some extras just because that's the way I am. Okay. I think it's time to go to the Nether and get some quartz. So let's do it. I don't know why I took the storage drawers with me. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm just gonna go into the Nether, grab some quartz, jet back out. But grab some stone while I'm here. And then we can use that to kind of fill in this unfinished portion of the floor. I just can't believe that I lost my quartz. I mean, with the mod, I got so many mods in the mix. It's possible there's a bug that ate my quartz. What I find more believable is that I did something with it and now I just misplaced it. But I just looked at all the places I would place it and it's not there. And at this point, there is a need for quartz from time to time, but not a bunch. Okay, shields up. So we'll just go grab some quartz. It should be pretty easy to find them here. Hey boys, how's it going? Hanging out in the little liquid magma hot tub. A little too hot for my taste, gentlemen. I'm not a big fan of hot tubs in general because most people have them too hot for me, but... and there you go. There's plenty of quartz ready to go. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. I'd be surprised if I had no quartz, but I apparently have no quartz. So we fixed it. It's okay. What's likely going to happen now is now that I went down here, now that I got some quartz, probably going to find what happened to my old quartz, and it's probably still there. So for the life of me, I can't imagine where or how that would be, but... Oh boy, that's what happens when you wash your hands with butter. Oh boy. My fat fingers. Oh! Okay. So I didn't have to come to the Nether to get quartz. I had it with me all along. It was just in my back. This is why we got to get the storage system up and running, so that I'm carrying the bare minimum with me. Everything is in storage unless I just got it or I'm going to actively use it right now. Boy, don't I feel stupid. I remember my wife did not want us, especially me, to say stupid around the girls when they were little. Now, before I got married and before I had kids, I was in the military. Bad words, swearing was not a foreign thing to me. It was I was quite comfortable with it. And you know, when I got married, and even more so when the girls were born, that all went out the window. And I have no problem with that. I'm not saying that I want to swear, but to this day, and even then, when she was saying stupid is a bad word, like stupid is not a bad word. Sometimes stupid is the perfect word, and highly accurate. The other one that she doesn't want me to say around the girls is crap. Now, the girls they're going to be juniors in high school next year, and quite frankly, I've caught them saying a whole lot worse than crap. I don't consider crap to be a bad word, but you know, everybody has different levels of acceptance, and I get that. I understand that. Where possible, I respect that, but considering the world we live in and what's being said on even broadcast TV, yeah, I think stupid is not a big deal. And like I said, there are times when stupid is the perfect word. Especially when you're watching the news. Anyway, so this is good though. This is good. I just need this gold bar and a diamond. Gold ingot and diamond. There, now it's actually in a drawer. It's not in my backpack anymore. I still need some of it though. Give me the gold bar. And the diamond I just made space for. No. Yes. Thank you. Make the comparators. 4. And now we can make controllers, right? So this is the master controller. And this would be our secondary controller. I don't have enough stone. I just had, there we go. I had oodles before. That's the technical measurement, oodles. Okay. Let's put these pieces away and then finish this. Finish this. This will be great. And we'll be able to move forward rapidly. I was going to do some farming, but I've changed my mind. Like I said, let's just get this done. I do want to grow the tree though. I do need to get that wood going. Since I just converted like most of my wood on hand into charcoal, so I do love the giant spruce trees. I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan of trees in real life. I love trees. I love forests. I just love trees of all types. But if I had to pick a favorite, I would say pine forests are probably my favorite. You know. Born in Montana, Montana boy, right? And then, you know, it's just been a part of my DNA, probably literally. You know, that was exacerbated by, I grew up in Southern California in the 70s and 80s, and they had trees. Just compared to places that have lots of trees, they didn't have very many trees, and that's why I loved them even more. Because in places that had like lots of trees, like I told you that I grew up in Ontario, California, and the older part of Ontario goes right down Euclid Avenue. Not Euclid Avenue. Trying to remember. No, it is Euclid, isn't it? Yeah, that runs north-south all the way up to the mountains. And they'd planted long ago. They planted rows of pepper trees on the wide boulevard and stuff. And even the neighborhoods to a few blocks on either side of the street are also very, very old. And they had trees that were planted in the 1880s, 1890s. And oh, I loved riding my bike through that part of the town because the trees had gotten so big they reached over the road and formed tunnels, right? And you know, to me, in an environment that was hot and sunny much of the time, that was like a haven, right? A sanctuary of shade. Man, I love that stuff. You know, where I grew up, I mean, not where I grew up, where I was born is Great Falls, Montana. Like I said, I've gone back a few times, and they had the same thing, right? Somebody planted elm trees back in the 18-somethings, And so you had these huge stately elm trees down like almost every street, and they had grown up and over the roadway, and you had these huge green leafy tunnels. And then the last time I went was like 2005 or something like that, or maybe even earlier, like 99, 2000, I don't know, somewhere around there. And they're all gone, right? I think it was Dutch elm disease that came in and killed them all, right? And it's really weird to see the streets that I knew with those big shady trees, to see them without shady trees, because now I'm all lost. I don't know where anything is. Well, not that I know the area very well anyway, but everything that was kind of sort of familiar to me is now just as foreign looking as if I've never been there before. So, regretful. Regretful. But when I moved here, Pacific Northwest, man, we got trees. Do we have trees? And moving here was probably the best thing I ever did. Pure and simple. And people say, well, but you know, it rains there all the time. Well, I think I've told you guys before, it doesn't rain here all the time. However, it is cloudy here much of the time. And when it's cloudy, we don't get a lot of like rain. I mean, places like New York City get more rain than us. It's, oh, hey, whoa. I'm not even prepared. I'm yakking. I'm not paying attention. Here, eat some photons. Yeah, most places get more rain than us, like we're talking actual rainfall. The difference is they get theirs in a few rainstorms, right? Like I have right now. But in the Pacific Northwest, we have rainforests. The moisture is just hanging in the air. We get mist and drizzle and this kind of general cloudiness. That's what it is. So, and that does keep things cooler. But I've come to really appreciate that. So people come to come here in the summer and they go, oh, this is spectacular. And then they're here in any other month and they're like, oh my God, it's so dark and gloomy and I'm out of here. Bye. Okay. See ya. Too bad you couldn't stay. I get it. Bye-bye. Because that's the price we pay, right? That dry summer where everything is so lush and unbelievably green. Where do you think the water for that comes from, right? It comes from all those cloudy, misty days. So let me think this through here. So that's going to be the controller. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the controller is going to have 2 sets of shelves behind it. I don't want to use this one. I want to use that one anyway. I thought I was going to use the spell. Turn that off. Okay. So this would be the controller. And I want... Now, like I told you, controllers have to be within 12 blocks of each other. And I made both a master and a secondary. So technically, this is not 12 blocks. I wouldn't need more than one controller. But there is a method to my madness. So I'll show you that to you. What I'm going to do... First of all, let's throw down the trim. This is basically the backbone. This is the network, right? This is the conduit through which material will flow. And then trying to figure this out. Okay. That's about right. So the trim, I need to knock one of these out. Okay. So this would be the master controller, right? And the reason it's the master... No, that's a slave. This will be the slave, and this will be the master. The reason the one furthest away from the storage lectern is the master, because as we expand this, right, the network spreads outward from the master, and if the master's on the edge and a bunch of non-storage space, the lectern, the central core, and all that is on the side, then my ability to spread only goes in one direction, and it can only go as far 75 blocks right from the master. But I'm trying to connect this. Do I not connect the bookworm to this stuff, or is it the other way around? So let's try it. Storage first. Maybe I need to have a storage drawer connected. Let's throw the... Oh, that's the one I wanted. Let's just throw these down. And then if I can't just pick it up, huh? Nope. So let's knock it out. It'll be the one in my hotbar. I can place it now. And now, does that count? Is that enough to activate it now? Oh, that did it. Okay. So the storage lectern is now connected. And if I go in here, there's the 79 cobblestone in our network. Now we can expand our network with more drawers and they should show up. But the point is as we expand the network, we're going to basically expand away from me now, out 75 blocks. And that's where the master controller will permanently sit. And then we'll extend it another 75 blocks past that. And that's with more secondary controllers. So that's why I did it that way. Now I'm going to have to come up with a way to put stuff into the system. I like to do it close to the storage lectern if at all possible. I think this is my last filled drawer. Let's see. Yep, it is. Okay. Now we can kind of place this stuff, right? So I got cobblestone and deep slate. And I have an unwelcome visitor. Well, unauthorized visitor. So what order do I want to put this stuff? And then where will I put the input box? Okay. We'll put the wood back here. It's not really a stone. All the other stuff is like a stone or something like that. We'll put this with the deep slate cobble. They're related. This is more of a soil, but I don't have a soil section yet. So we'll just put it right here. Tough is just weird. That's also soil. That's the gravel. So then we put the tough and the netherrack here, and that's a start, right? And then we'll just put blank drawers here. We'll fill this out later. And then the way I set this up is I can get 2 rows of drawers with a walkway of 2 blocks width between them, so I can actually see what's on there. Now, that's just how I would do this normally, because I would come physically to the drawer to pick up stuff. But with this system, I may not ever have to come to drawers except to initially choose what material is at what drawer. Do I need to move this over? back to give it more space. So we'll put a trim piece in here to extend the network. And then if I do this, then that's 1, 2, 3. It just looks so narrow. It was 3 spots already though, so let me bust them back out. Put everything back the way it was. Trim piece, and then drawer. And that's pretty much it for now. So now I can see all the stuff from here, right? All in one view. You can see there's 4,821 deep slate cobble. So that one's an upgraded drawer. You can see that I can craft stuff from here. I can put stuff back in there, and it just goes to the right drawer. So if I put this in here, it just goes to the right place. How about this? Will this, if I drop in something that's not in the system, what? There it is. It's in the system someplace. Where? Should be the closest to, there it is. It's not where I wanted to put it, but I'm glad that it did put it someplace. So we'll put that with the cobblestone. They're related. So the functional storage is now functional, right? It's this thing's working like it's supposed to. Now it's just a matter of scaling it up and out. So let's take a nice view of this. So I wanted to get a nice view, and then the bookworm hid. Let's go over here. Here we go. There we go. And of course now he's facing the wrong direction, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, this has been good. This has been productive. It went well. I'm pretty thrilled with it. I can't wait to see, or can't wait to take this to the next level. I certainly want to thank you for joining me in this little adventure, for listening to me rant, and hopefully I didn't drive you off, so that you will join us next time. But in the meanwhile, I hope this finds you and yours in good health, good spirits, and perhaps a touch of good fortune. Cheers.